Dr. King, I mean, 13 years in this civil rights movement, and him having to deal with death threats, house being bombed, being stabbed while signing a book. And he had resigned in 1955 that he would see this thing through to the end, even if it cost him his life. The theme of the memorial is, out of a mountain of despair, a stone of hope. And what you see behind me, there are two stones. We consider those two pieces to be the mountain of despair. The stone here is what we call the stone of hope. August 28, 1963, while preaching his I Have a Dream message, what Doc said was, hew out of a mountain of despair a stone of hope. Birmingham ended up being a victory, but what Dr. King understood was that you couldn't lose the momentum. And so he was approached about marching here in Washington, D.C. They came here in 1963. You had a lot of different speakers who were supposed to speak at that point. Doc was supposed to speak somewhere closer in the middle of the day. Doc ends up going last. The idea was by him going last, it could bring all of these other groups together. And so Doc ends up doing his I Have a Dream speech. It's interesting when he starts his speech out, he starts it out 50 years ago. That 50 language was very similar to Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. What he was actually doing was he was tying in his argument with not only Mr. Lincoln, but also the Founding Fathers. He quotes the Constitution, the Emancipation Proclamation, he quotes the Declaration of Independence. A couple of people have said that Mahalia Jackson was standing on the platform. She was there, and she had been at quite a few of Doc's speeches before, and she had even sung. And she starts saying, tell them about the dream, tell them about the dream. Doc was probably going to go somewhere else with his speech. But then he ends up ending in a manner by which we now know that speech as the I Have a Dream speech. He had used that I Have a Dream ending about 20 or 30 times, according to Y.T. Walker, who was on Doc's staff. If you look at the video, he's looking at paper for the longest time. But when he starts to talk about I Have a Dream, he's not looking at his paper. He's looking up and he's looking around. And Clarence Jones, who was not only Doc's attorney, but he was also a speechwriter, he turned to somebody and said, people don't know, but he's about to take them to church. And if you listen to the end of that speech, he certainly took everybody to church. And there's so many other individuals, names that we won't remember, who were willing to lay their lives down for a generation they hadn't met. I find that absolutely incredible. Could this memorial have been here earlier? I don't know, but I think now, 40 plus years later, is the right time for this memorial to be here. It's humbling to me, just realizing the power of the spoken word can inspire people to do better and to be better.